Oh yeah, what is good? What is good? Let me just get my sound. Let me just get my sound situated. Let make sure
Oh
everything
yeah,
is
what is
Gucci.
good?
Let me make sure everything is Gucci on my end for tonight's show. You guys, I had to come on live tonight and talk because it looks like two of our hip hop icons are going at it. You know what I mean? I'm talking about two of the hip hop artists who actually had a shoe commercial together back in the day. You know what I mean? The S Carters and the G Unit sneakers. 50 and Jay Z at one point actually combined for a commercial shoot where they were actually rapping together. You know what I mean? They were showing each other love. At one point, we saw 50 Cent and Jay Z even come together in collaboration for an official album. Although we didn't see the requirements of that album met, that was the album that was actually produced for Freeway. That's right, you guys, the Freeway album that was supposed to be executive produced by 50 Cent and Jay Z. Point being is we've seen these two major icons come together on several different occasions. We saw them come together on several different occasions, you guys, but we've also known 50 Cent to take jabs at Jay Z. You know what I mean? We've known 50 to take jabs at Jay here and there, not as much as what he's done to Puffy. You know what I mean? Not as much as what he's done to Puff Daddy, Papa Diddy Pop. You know what I'm saying? But in all honesty, 50 Cent and Jay Z going at it. I mean, I've asked people in the past about it. I've asked 40 Glock about it. I've asked him about I've asked many different artists about shit like this, you guys. But tonight we got to talk about it because 50 Cent has made a reply to Jay Z apparently having a conversation with Nori about the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl is something that we've all been circling around for the last what? For the last few months, you guys. For the last few months, we've all been talking about the fact that the game seems to be on a little edge. The game seems to be on edge with everything going on involved with the Super Bowl. It seems like his new album, Drillmatic, is going to address a lot of these controversies, which I'm really interested to hear. I mean, I can't even begin to express to you guys. I mean, this is the first time that I've actually been interested in a game album, probably in all reality, since the Jesus Piece project. You know what I mean? Sure, they almost roped me in on the documentary too, but I'm not really much of a part two guy. You know what I mean? When Rick Ross dropped Port of Miami 2, Ja Rule dropped Pain is Love 2 on Universal back in the day, which I did not agree with. And then you're never going to see 50 Cent drop Get Rich or Die Trying to. You know what I mean? There's just some artists that won't jeopardize their credibility in releasing these type of albums, but you look at it, there's others that will in order to do the cash grab. The game actually sold a few records by doing the documentary too, y'all. But let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about 50 Cent basically, finally responding to Jay. Some people have taken jabs at 50 Cent for his performance. I was just listening to an interview today with Bizarre, where Bizarre was actually speaking about, all the memes that were going on about the weight comparison. 50 people were saying 50 got a little fat at the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? People were saying 50 got a little bit fat at the Super Bowl comparison to what he was when we first saw him. When 50 Cent actually appeared backwards, or excuse me, upside down at the Super Bowl, it was a throwback to what he had used to be, what he used to be. You know what I mean? It was a pure throwback to what 50 Cent used to be, but not to the people. You know what I mean? The people almost didn't recognize 50 Cent at that point. His teeth aren't the same. You know what I mean? His body mass isn't the same. Back then, 50 was skinny. You know what I mean? Back then, they remember 50 with the Gucci shit around his neck. You know what I mean? And the double holster joint. Yo, 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 what's popping? What's popping? Appreciate you, Lean Breezy, for tapping in. What you talking about, my brother? Talk to me, brother. But yeah, man, the Super Bowl is a major, major outlet, because, look at every year, everybody tunes in to see the commercials. It's going to be the most memorable commercials. But in reality, the Super Bowl is something that mankind in general will be remembered for. At the end of this all, the Super Bowl will more than likely still be there when they're looking through all of our data. You know what I mean? When they're looking through all of the glossary of material that we keep as human beings. They're going to see the games that we played, and they're going to see the halftime show. Whoever in 1,000 years discovers the earth. And when they discover that, they're not going to see the game intertwined with that performance. The game, in a way, has been left out of history, you guys. And that's why he's going so ape shit. That's why the game is going so crazy in this situation. I can totally understand it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the fans can understand it, but some people are just calling him a little childish. Some people are just saying, this is typical game. You know what I mean? This is what the game always does. This is why 50 Cent disassociated himself with the game in the first place. We all remember they did the press conference. They shook hands. Jimmy Iovine saw to it that they shook hands and, get the ship, seal the holes in the ship so it doesn't sink. But that didn't work out. The game kept on going back on that relationship. And one fool 50 once, shame on you. Fool 50 twice, shame on 50. So he's not going to let it happen again. No matter how many bottles the game sends over, no matter how many conversations that the game has with 50 when they're inside of a nightclub, or however many times the game shoots him a DM. It's just not going to work out, because once you break somebody's trust, it's over, you guys. Whether it's a relationship, however you can identify with what I'm saying, whether it's a relationship, whether it is a job, whether it is a friendship, once you break that trust, the bond really can never get back to what it once was. I mean, shit, maybe the power of the dollar, no pun intended, that being 50's first album, the power of the dollar, as I said, could have possibly brought them back together. The fact that those guys, as the game had broke down, 50 Cent was touring for $2 million, and he was letting G Unit break down $1.5 million. So maybe the power of the dollar could bring these guys back together, some sort of a tour where they were to perform with one another, and they were literally making $1 million each on the tour. Who the hell would turn that down? But I think that is water under the bridge. I think that ship has sailed. I think that's something that the game has actually destroyed for himself as a backup plan when your solo tours aren't selling out anymore. When the G Unit tours aren't there, he could have always toured with 50. There's probably 1,000 promoters who would say, hey, it would be cool to have 50 Cent. It would be cool to have G Unit, but how about we just do the game in 50 Cent joint? When we send Game and 50 Cent to Spain, and we send them to Germany, we send them to France. You know what I mean? There's different times, to do different runs. What's going on, Marcus42? I appreciate you for tapping in. I appreciate everybody for tapping in tonight, man. It's a little bit of a throwback when we're talking about 50 Cent going at Jay-Z, but this actually has to do with some of the recent remarks, apparently, that Eminem, Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, however you know him, apparently Eminem said he would not perform at the Super Bowl without 50 Cent. Now, their performances were not together. But when you think of Eminem, it's kind of like the Jay-Z Kanye thing. When you think of M, you got 50 right there. You know what I mean? And Eminem makes sure of that. Eminem makes sure that the world knows that he put on an artist that actually went on to blow up. So 50 Cent, sure as hell, was going to be at the show of all shows, the Super Bowl. Well, as I said, you guys, a time in history that will be remembered far past any of us. You know what I mean? Far our children's children. You know what I mean? People from another world are going to come back and see that shit and be like, oh, damn, Eminem and Dr. Dre were pretty cool. And then they had this guy 50, and then, whoa, Mary J. Blige. And then they even had Kendrick Lamar. And that's why the game is feeling left out, y'all. That's why the game is literally feeling left out because of this simple fact, and all I could think is that it's going to be addressed on Drillmatic. It seems to be getting addressed on a weekly basis through interviews and podcasts and allegedly new diss tracks that are coming out from the game to Eminem. We're going to have to wait and see if there's more to talk about when it comes to that. Snoop Dogg pointed out something very, very interesting that I want to talk about. When it was mentioned that 50 was Eminem's guy, Snoop Dogg was very, very precise and clear to point out the fact that he is Dr. Dre's guy. We all know Dre and Snoop are homies. We all know Dre and Snoop came into this shit together. We all know that Snoop actually gave Dr. Dre a little bit of a boost with the Chronic album. You know what I mean? The Chronic album almost served as a bit of an appetizer for what was to come with Doggy Style. Looking back at the project, the way that Dr. Dre introduced Snoop Dogg was almost genius. I don't think in the chat, or if you're watching this video on demand, let me know, had we ever seen a circumstance like the way that Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg came out together? Did we ever see two artists really working together like that? Let me see. Sharon Bird says they're brothers. M and 50, they're loyal to each other. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, that's a big factor right there. The loyalty that each one of them show to each other, Sharon. I definitely agree with you on that because 50 Cent is always wanting to give Eminem his props when he gets the chance to. Hell, we saw that in BMF when 50 Cent actually had Eminem come in and play White Boy Rick. You know what I mean? Shit, that's got to open up possibilities, endless possibilities. Whether we're talking about a reoccurring role on BMF or the possibility of a whole new show starring Eminem, the possibility of Eminem's next film, you guys. You know what I'm talking about? Eminem possibly jumping back into films, and it's triggered by his friend 50 Cent. Let's just look at the situation for real, what it really is. The Game has even said in interviews, he's like, yo, I can rap better than 50 Cent. That's what he said. He said the reason he's going after Eminem is because 50 Cent can't rap. 50 Cent can do the documentaries. You know what I mean? 50 Cent can do the documentaries, but 50 Cent can't rap better than The Game. What's going on, Fly Prolific? I appreciate you tapping in tonight. Salute, Kimo Savi. Appreciate you, man. Salute, Mikey T, the movie star. Much respect to Report Card Radio. Let's get it. Let's get it. Appreciate everybody sharing this video. Major salute to y'all for sharing this video tonight. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about, man. We got to talk about Kodak Black tonight, you guys, as well. Kodak Black has been going through some shit with one of his top dogs, Jackboy. Jackboy was really one of the only artists, I think, with the Sniper Gang that really started to get some traction. That's no shot at 22Gs. I'm not really sure what the working relationship with 22Gs and Kodak Black is right now, but I do believe Jackboy was actually able to go and, get a record deal with Atlantic Records. I'm not sure how much that had to do with Kodak Black. We've seen Jackboy actually, start to get his name out there in a couple different ways. Like he was dating Asian the Doll for a minute, or Asian the Brat, however you really know her. But he did a couple different things to get his name out there. Young Generation 84, what is popping? What is popping? Definitely appreciate you for tapping in. Detraeus Smith, 50 can rap. He chooses not to. Just give me 1 second, you guys. I just need to get my lighter. Excuse me, guys. Big homie, sorry, bro. I don't comment on some shit in my chat just to be real with you. But yeah, man, let's get into this topic. First topic of the day. Nori was actually, doing a little bit of talking, as we know Nori for now, with Drink Champs, the best podcast out, pretty much the most syndicated podcast out. Drink Champs has actually made its way over onto Revolt TV. I agree with you though. 50 definitely can rap. You know what I mean? 50 is one of the dopest rappers of all time. I'm a big fan of Power of the Dollar, but that's just me. You know what I mean? I know people love Get Rich. I know people love The Massacre. Shit, even I know I'm going back, but I know people love Guess Who's Back as well. It was 50's later albums, where he kind of disconnected, whereas kind of why I think Eminem had to go to the people and be like, listen, 50 Cent is going to perform, or you're not going to get me to perform. You know what I mean? 50 Cent is going to perform, or you're not going to get me to perform, is what Eminem did. Because in reality, 50 Cent's situation has kind of gone down. 50 Cent's situation has gone down. He doesn't have any new music to perform for the people. You know what I mean? He doesn't really have any up to date music to perform in front of all those people. He wasn't going to be performing his new song with Moneybag Yo off of the BMF show. Let's just be real about this situation. If he did any record, it would always have to go back to his first record, Get Rich or Die Trying's In the Club, that he never actually topped. Yeah, Matt actually asked the question of who is Dre closer to? Who is Dre closer to, Eminem or Snoop Dogg? Yeah, man. That's something I was actually thinking in my head earlier because the situation with Snoop Dogg saying Dr. Dre is my guy, 50 Cent is Eminem's guy. It puts them in a bracket of who the best friends were, who the tightest ones were. I think we all know that Dre and Snoop were tight. You know what I mean? They were the tightest ones after Dre and Eazy-E. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the natural connections, it went from Dre and Easy to Dre and Snoop to Dre and M to Dre and Game. I don't necessarily because that was Dre and M and 50, Dre and 50 in Game, Dre and Kendrick. These are the associations that we know Dr. Dre for, you guys. Now, if we're asking the question of who is Dre tighter with, Eminem or Snoop Dogg, I mean that's really a hard question to answer. I mean, you could automatically say, well, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, they go back. You know what I mean? They go back to a certain level. They go back to the very early 90s where Eminem came in and got involved in the late 90s. So you could easily give them a 5 or 6 year head start on the relationship. You know what I mean? You could easily give them a 5 or 6 year head start and just say that they're cooler. But you can also look at the associations that Snoop Dogg had. Snoop Dogg was never an aftermath recording artist. You know what I mean? Snoop Dogg always went from producer to producer. You know what I mean? Although him and Dre kept that steady relationship, you know what I mean? They're like the Cheech and Chong of this shit. You know what I mean? Dre and Snoop always said that they would be performing together when they were in wheelchairs. And me as a fan, I believe that shit. You know what I mean? I really do believe that shit. I do believe that shit, you guys. I say we are going to see them performing together as senior citizens. That's like what I was talking about a little bit earlier when the Game, he had all these fallbacks, solo tours, G Unit tours, tours with 50 Cent, the two of them, like on some on some Lil Wayne versus Drake shit. But he pretty much sent all that shit up in smoke. No pun intended. I know Up in Smoke is the big tour that Dre, Snoop, Exhibit were at, but the Game really just kissed all of his, good fortune goodbye when he left G Unit because, like I've said before, he didn't build his own label. He didn't build Juice. He didn't build Compton Menace. He didn't build Ya Boy. This was what Black Wall Street was supposed to be. You know what I mean? I watched it. I watched them build it from the ground, but they never went up. You know what I'm saying? When you say people build shit from the ground up, while we all watch 50 build Banks and Yayo. Lloyd Banks in the house, Tony Yayo in the house. That's how you get their names out there. And 50 didn't miss a cycle. 50 didn't miss a cycle. 50 said there's no second 50 Cent album. This isn't DMX. This isn't Tupac. This is 50 Cent running his own label. This is G Unit. And this is 50 Cent and G Unit. And that's why we got the G Unit album to follow it up. With the game, with the documentary, the game couldn't get the Doctor's Advocate out any faster. He raced to get that album out, you guys. He raced to get that album out. He had the documentary out in January of 05. He released the Doctor's Advocate by December or November of 06. You know, instead of taking some time to put Compton Menace on, my OG, instead of taking some time to put the dopest rapper on Black Wall Street, ya boy. If you guys remember ya boy, he was the dopest rapper on Black Wall Street. And if you would have took some time to put the protege of the game, Juice out, or even my guy from Philly, Cicero, he had a whole team. He had a whole team of artists actually putting him on. You know what I'm saying? He had a whole team of artists actually putting, to put on, but he never really got to it. My bad, y'all. But yeah, the your boy shit was heavy, man. Like I was there watching it all, waiting for it all to unfold. The fact that the game didn't put on Black Wall Street was really disappointing to me, y'all. It was really disappointing to me the way that the game didn't put on Black Wall Street. Because he had the opportunity right there in front of him. So Snoop Dogg actually was on Nori's podcast and he actually spoke on the whole situation with the game and Dr. Dre. Snoop had said, my job is to be the mediator. My job is to be the mediator. I don't take any side. I don't take any sides. I just love everybody the same and I sympathize with both. I understand how both feel. I understand how Game feels. I understand. Wow, I understand how Dre feels and I understand how Game feels. I was kind of wondering why Snoop Dogg said that, you guys. I was kind of wondering why Snoop Dogg said he knows how the game feels. He knows how Dr. Dre feels. Like, is there some shit that we don't actually know about going on with the game and Dr. Dre? Because from my knowledge as a fan, it never seemed like Game went at Dr. Dre, other than pretty much, other than when the game disobeyed Dre and disobeyed Jimmy Iovine, and he just kept going at G Unit and pretty much ruined what they called the Beatles of hip hop. Ruining everything, ruining the releases from Tony Yayo, ruining the second albums from Young Buck and Lloyd Banks. Although that could have been the marketing and the releases. You know what I'm saying? That's what could have hindered those projects. The game fought so the Doctor's Advocate could get released within another year. Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo and Young Buck, they waited over 2 years for their albums to be released, you guys. Just 1 second. All right, my bad about that. Just had to listen to a little voice message. My bad, y'all. Matt KBD asked, send in your questions as well, you guys. This is an open forum podcast, live podcast style. I'm with you, Mikey. Do you think Game hasn't been able to be bigger than just a rapper? Oh, man, interesting question, Matt, because the game has gotten some opportunities actually on the big screen. He actually had an opportunity to star in some movies and stuff like that. I mean, I really wasn't into the Millionaire Boys Club. I really was not into that whatsoever. You know what I mean? And then the movie that he did where he played Big Meat, which was with Lorenz Tate. What was that movie called again, you guys? That movie made a few bucks at the box office. I want to say it made like about $8 to $10 million opening weekend, but the game was never really able to expand on that. You know what I mean? When you get an opportunity, you're supposed to expand on it. Like, look at what Compton Menace has done since actually acting in the Straight Outta Compton film. He's actually parlayed it into several other films, you guys. Like, he just did a Fatale movie with Michael Ealy, which I was very impressed with. Compton Menace is all over the scene with it. Now, the game should have easily been able to make his roots in Hollywood, being the fact that he lives in California. You know what I mean? Being the fact that he has access to getting all types of agents, which is the most important thing to have when you're in the industry. You want that person looking to help you make the next best move of your career. Now, the game, he decided to do a flavor of love show, if you will. That's what the game decided to do. You know, he decided to do one of those reality shows, which doesn't really show as much of what you can actually do. You know what I mean? It just gives you an opportunity to be yourself. Uh, yep. Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Colossus. The Belly 2 movie was a major disrespect to the classic film Belly. Don't really know why the game made that film other than the fact that it was one of his first opportunities, man. Sometimes, in this game, when you, no pun intended, sometimes in this industry, when you get an opportunity, you don't sit on it. You know what I mean? If you get an opportunity to act in a film, you don't really just sit on it. You kind of want to take every opportunity that's given to you. A lot. I mean, we saw what happened with Game before he got into the industry with the reality show he was on. We actually saw what happened with Tyga on a little reality show he was on. So I've spoken with Ja Rule. He was involved with some films that he's not particularly proud of. There's a lot of shit that happens, when you're making your way into the industry. And I'm not just talking about how Before I Self Destruct really wasn't nothing compared to Power or BMF. But, the proof is in the pudding, you guys. Yep, waist deep. 100% Jason Waters, waist deep. Can you give me an opening weekend box office on waist deep? I want to say it was 8 to 10 million. So Snoop Dogg was basically saying he was playing mediator, and Snoop said, "I understand how both feel. I understand how Dr. Dre feels, and I understand how the game feels." But like I said, that's a major question to me because as a fan, I'm just looking at this and I'm like, "Whoa, why does Dr. Dre feel a way about the game? Why does the game feel a way about Dr. Dre? I mean, shit. Uh, is Snoop talking about some of Dre's more recent feelings with the game saying that Kanye West has done more for him in 2 short weeks? Is this what Snoop Dogg might be alluding to? That the game has really impacted Dr. Dre, his old mentor, saying that somebody has really done more for him in 2 weeks? So Nori made a joke. He said, "How does Scott Storch? And what about how Scott Storch feels?" And he had mentioned Storch wanted to play the pianos, and Snoop Dogg was like, "Are you serious?" Snoop Dogg was like, but I think Nori was really joking about that. But I guess Nori must have had a conversation with Scott Storch. And, just having worked with Scott Storch myself in the past, I kind of was watching the Super Bowl and I was like, damn, why didn't they bring big bro Scott Storch up there, man, to do the keys at least for the Still Dre? You know what I mean? To at least do some shit, that would look really cool. I mean, they had a lot of people there on the set. I need everybody to share this video. I am your host, Mikey T, the movie star. Tonight, we are talking about this crazy news going on between 50 Cent, apparently dissing Jay-Z, over what he said about Eminem. Jay-Z revealing some remarks that Eminem made to Dr. Dre, to the people putting on the Super Bowl. So Nori said that Jay-Z pulled up on me. I guess he hit Jay. He told him to pull up on him. Not really sure what type of environment Nori was in. But I mean, if you're meeting up with Jay-Z, you kind of want to make sure you're in an environment where you can afford everything on the menu. You know what I mean? And you can at least afford everything inside of that establishment, just so you know that Jay's not going to come in there and order something that costs like $13,000. You know what I mean? But even if it was $13,000, you would probably just have to swipe your card for Jay. You know what I mean? If it's Jay, swipe the card. Just being real. So Nori said Jay came and checked him. He pulled up on him. He said, Jay-Z pulled up on me and I had to ask him straight up, who's the people that's on the NFL? I mean, I guess he was asking Jay who was going to be a part of the Super Bowl halftime show. I really couldn't understand what Nori was saying there, you guys. I'm sorry about that. If anybody in the chat can put that in there, what Nori was talking about, or why Jay-Z would actually know what was going on with the Super Bowl in general. Like, I was a little bit lost when it came to that. I do know Jay-Z has some stake in the Nets or something like that, right, you guys? But I really didn't know what influence or why Jay-Z would actually know about the Super Bowl. That's one thing that I was questioning in my mind. Um, so like I said, Nori said Jay-Z pulled up on him. Jay-Z said the white guy called for 50 Cent. Nori asked, "Who's the white guy?" And Nori said, "I'm thinking it was Jimmy Iovine." You know, when we talk about Interscope Records, when we're talking about Dr. Dre, we all know probably one of Dre's biggest, investments or Dre's biggest ventures was Beats by Dre. All due respect to M and Snoop and Storch and Exhibit and everybody that came up with Dr. Dre. But NWA, all of those. But I think Beats by Dre is Dre's most lucrative investment or venture. So that's why everybody pretty much thinks you're talking about Jimmy Iovine when you're talking about the quote unquote white guy, involved in the situation. So Jay said that the white guy called for 50 Cent. Nori's like, who's the white guy? I'm thinking it's Jimmy Iovine. Jay-Z apparently said Eminem called directly for 50 Cent. And, that's really honorable. I got to commend Eminem on doing that, because of the fact that 50 Cent was pretty much the first artist that Eminem signed outside of the people from his own hood. I actually just did an interview with Bizarre. If you guys haven't seen that, be sure to check out my interview with Bizarre. Also, check out my interview with Royce the 5'9", a couple of natives from Detroit. You know what I mean? Very, very proud of some of the work that I've done in Detroit, a major, major hip hop scene. If anybody watching this is not subscribed to my channel, make sure you guys subscribe right now, man. I'm always doing live videos, updating news, but we're also releasing interview content. Right now, I've got an exclusive interview with an exclusive interview with Fredro Starr out that I'm going to post it up right now. I'm going to pin the link. Fredro Starr actually speaks on signing to Jam Master Jay before 50 Cent. And Fredro also spoke on the controversy that happened with me and Bang'em Smurf in Trinidad. I'm posting it up right now, you guys. Also, I'm going to post up a poll. I'm posting up a poll right now. I'm putting a poll up right now, you guys, just so you know. I want to know, who do you guys think was Dr. Dre's best protege? Who was Dr. Dre's best protege, you guys? Major salute, numero uno. Appreciate you for tapping in. So Eminem, Jay-Z said Eminem called directly for 50 Cent. I really wonder what this performance would have been without 50 Cent. I'm not trying to sound like a 50 Cent rider or anything like that. I'm not trying to sound like that. I'm not trying to sound like a 50 Cent stan or anything like that. But honestly, What would this performance have been without 50 Cent? I find it a little bit hard to see where the game would have actually fit in to the equation. I mean, you can fit him in, you know what I mean, if you really just want to bunch everything up in there. But without 50 Cent at this show, I just don't really think it makes sense because you see what Dr. Dre did by putting out Snoop Dogg, and then you see Eminem, but then you see the next natural part of their growth, the relationship with Eminem and Dr. Dre. The growth of that relationship was actually 50 Cent, the birth of G Unit. You know what I mean? Arguably the new NWA. If the game, they say the Beatles, you know what I mean? Some people say the new NWA, you know what I mean? Some people say the new Death Row. And the game just pretty much put all of those expectations up in smoke. All those expectations was up in smoke when the game really decided to go at this whole. So I don't know if that's where the Dre and game issues stem from. I know Dre stepped back at that point, but him and Game seemed to actually put their issues beside them. But Dre had stepped back once they started dissing each other. But this situation, Dre, I don't know if he'll ever get back together with the game at this point, with the game going on live publications and saying, oh, Kanye West did more for me than Dr. Dre did in 2 weeks. Like saying shit like that when a man put in his sweat and his tears and his time, his time, his sweat and his tears on you. I'm talking about hours upon hours of helping to develop your project. You know what I mean? When you say certain things, man, it makes people think. What's good, Biggs? Appreciate you for tapping up. Appreciate you for tapping in. Numo Uno says, man, that's a tough one. Hell yeah. We got to put the best polls in here. I want everybody to vote in this poll tonight, man. And if you haven't seen it, go check out my new interview with Fred Rostar, or it's a throwback, actually. One of my dopest interviews. Man. Biggs. What's popping with you, King? So Jay-Z told Nori, this is what Nori said, you guys, and shit, I don't know if Jay-Z is going to feel a type of way about this. I don't know if Jay's going to be like, damn, I can't have a conversation with Nori. You know what I mean? But Jay told Nori that Eminem called directly for 50 Cent to perform. Snoop Dogg said, that's his guy. Nori said, Jay-Z said that Eminem said, I can't do it if I can't bring 50 up. So Eminem pretty much put his spot of performing at the Super Bowl on the line. He pretty much put his spot of performing at the Super Bowl on the line if 50 Cent wasn't able to perform. If 50 Cent can't perform in the club, I don't want to be a part of it, is pretty much what Eminem said. A lot of the people are going to talk. They're going to be like, well, if Eminem would do that for 50 Cent, why wouldn't Dr. Dre do that for the game? Why wouldn't Dr. Dre do that for the game if M would do that for 50 Cent? A lot of people just assume that Dr. Dre has the same relationship with the game that Eminem has with 50 Cent. You know what I mean? When you look at Eminem and 50 Cent, you got to realize that these two guys have been around each other so long that their kids were young at the same point and their kids were actually taking photographs together. You know what I mean? There's different things like this that build a certain camaraderie within artists. Uh, the game always had his big brother, Big Face, pushing his music, making sure his shit was out there. He had other people in his career like JT the Bigger Figure come in and actually buy an album off of him. 50 Cent had Columbia, so I can't discredit that 50 Cent didn't have no relationships before Eminem. But Eminem is really credited by 50 for being the one to can't come in and save his career. 50 Cent will never forget that. You won't see 50 Cent on an interview saying, oh, who was a good example of someone working with 50 Cent? You know what I mean? You won't see 50 Cent just going on and saying somebody he's been working with for a month and a half is doing more for him than Eminem. Oh, Big Meech did more for me by giving me the rights to his television show than Eminem has ever done. What? Eminem put 50 Cent in position to now be able to produce television shows by putting him in front of the world. You know what I mean? Certain people won't say disrespectful ass shit like that, like what the game did by saying that Kanyeezy. Big ups to Ye. You know what I mean? I'd love to get an email from Ye. I know Ye doesn't be on the phone like that, but big ups to Ye. But I don't know, aside from him giving the game $50 million, like was alleged that he was going to give Beanie Siegel, what more could he have done for you? And for crying out loud, Dr. Dre put the game in position to actually make $50 million. So what is there even to talk about here, man? Big homie said, yo, salute Peas, Louis Peasy, appreciate you for tapping in. Big homie says, because game isn't that important to Dr. Dre's legacy. Huh. And it was kind of the game in a way that took him out of Dr. Dre's legacy, because like I said a little bit earlier, when the game started beefing with G Unit, I think it kind of reminded, just from the way that it looked, it kind of reminded Dr. Dre of what was happening with Death Row. That's just kind of how I looked at it back then. And that's why Dre was so easily cool enough with stepping back from it. And that's when I feel like Jimmy Iovine and all of them were just like, yo, Dre, I understand we can put together some of the dopest artists. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we catch lightning in a bottle. Other times we just work for years on end and never really get that product that we really want. But Dre, there's something that defines what we're doing. And what we're doing is we're giving these artists your sound. The ear of production that you have is what is bringing everybody to the dance, what's bringing everybody to the show. So let's do something where we can let everybody hear it, like you know what I mean? And that's how I think Beats by Dre came around. Um, Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like and share. Make sure if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe right now. If you're not subscribed to Mikey T, the movie star, make sure you subscribe right now. I'm probably the dopest blogger doing this shit, man. Um, I'm probably one of the longest running bloggers doing this shit, you guys. Coming on this channel, you're never going to get cap. You're never going to get bullshit. You're always going to get straight facts. You're always going to get real shit on this channel, man. So like Snoop said, that's his guy. Eminem called directly for 50. Snoop said, that's his guy. Jay said, I can't do it if I can't bring 50 up. Snoop said, that's his guy. And guess who's Dre's guy? This is what a lot of people were forgetting. The game isn't necessarily Dre's guy. The game isn't necessarily Dre's guy. What songs does Game and Dre have? You know what I mean? Game and Dre don't have the catalog. Game and Dre, well, I should say Game and 50 could have had what Dre and Snoop had. Game and 50 could have had what Snoop and Dre have. When I'm talking about the ability to perform at all these different venues, when I'm talking about the ability to actually perform for years on end, and you know what I mean? 50 and Game could have been performing Hate It or Love It 10 years, 15 years from now, still just collecting the bag. But people just think when they think they can do it by themselves. You know what I mean? People really just start thinking that they can do it by themselves. And then, they get big headed. They get big headed, and look what happened. Like, I'm not trying to discredit what the game did with his sales, but his next album, The Doctor's Advocate, it moved 220,000 less. It moved 220,000 less than the previous album. Now, Thoughts of a Predicate Felon from Tony Yayo moved 216,000 units first week. The game lost all of those sales. People who would buy G Unit albums just because it was a G Unit album. The game lost out on all of that, you guys. So let's see. Let's get back to here. Like Snoop said, that's his guy, and guess who's Dre guy? Me. So with all the talk of Game being Dre's guy, we've forgotten that Snoop was actually the original Dre guy. So I want to get into 50 actually responding to this whole conversation. 50 50 actually responded a couple times, you guys. Let's get into it here. 50 said, why would he have to say that? Should be the question. Nori, your big homie is running around trying to look like a painter. So 50 is taking shots at Jay-Z's appearance. He actually went as far in his next post to actually put up a picture. He actually put up a picture of Jay-Z alongside this Jean-Michel Basquiat, the Jean-Michel Basquiat. And, they kind of have the similar hairstyle and shit. So 50's taking a shot at Jay, much to be expected. We've seen 50 take similar shots at Diddy in the past. You know what I mean? I don't really think it does anything for 50. I mean, if you look back to when 50 and Jay were going at it, when 50 was on the independent market, Jay-Z said, you know what I mean? Jay-Z said, I'm about $1. What the F is 50 cent? And 50 said, if I shoot you, I'm famous. If you shoot me, you're brainless. You said it yourself. If I shoot you, I'm famous. If you shoot me, you're brainless. That's what 50 said to Jay, you guys. Do you remember that? You said it yourself. Twist the back at you. Yeah, man. That's why I'm on here doing these videos, man. That's why I'm on here doing these videos. We will really remember shit in real time. You know what I mean? We remember shit in real time, you guys. I want everybody to vote in the poll right now. If you guys haven't voted in the poll, kind of lame. 50 trying to go at Jay-Z for his hairstyle. You know what I mean? Kind of lame because it's like, yo, man, Jay-Z's hairstyle is not as weird as when you lost all that weight for that movie that really didn't even get no consideration when it came to roles. You know what I mean? It's like nobody. I wasn't on here discrediting 50 for pulling a Christian Bale of The Machinist and losing 95 pounds. You know what I mean? And totally altering his appearance. People do the things that make them happy. You know what I mean? Jay, he was known for having the Caesar or whatever. He was known for having the low cut for so many years, for his whole career, pretty much. You know what I mean? Look at French Montana. He was known for having the Caesar, went to the fade. Now he's got the dreads. No, not the dreads, the braids. Look at the game. A lot of these guys, they alter their appearance, man. Look at what, I mean, it was really, really crazy to me when Luda shaved his dreads. Look at Gunplay from MMG. I mean, come on, like to go at Jay-Z because he decided to grow his hair out like that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of lame. You know what I mean? It's kind of lame, especially when I guess 50 really hasn't changed his appearance in his whole, the only way 50 really changed his appearance was when he got buff. You know what I mean? That's really the only way that 50 changed his appearance. So let's get into this next part where 50 actually took issue with the way that Jay-Z referred to Eminem. 50 said, why did he say the white boy? Why he didn't say the biggest rap artist in the world? Happy Easter. And if I didn't say that, man, happy Easter. 50 Cent beat me to it. Man, enjoy the holidays. So 50 said, why did he say the white boy? Why he didn't say the biggest rap artist in the world? Well, 50 should know that back in the day when Eminem was first coming onto the scene, when M was first coming onto the scene, a lot of rappers would, or a lot of fans would call him the white boy. You know what I mean? Pretty much when you use that phrase, when you're referring to the white boy, you would know that they were talking about Eminem. So I don't know why that's coming off so strange to 50 Cent. Maybe the fact that we're so far removed from the beginning of Eminem's career to the point where Eminem has achieved so much that 50, he gave 50 a career. You know what I mean? Eminem gave 50 Cent a career, but maybe kind of 50 Cent is taking offense to Jay-Z, who is obviously one of the top. I kind of sometimes flip-flop Eminem and Jay-Z for that number 3 position, number 4 position in the game, because of the fact that Jay has so successfully run labels while Eminem has faltered a little bit when it's come to labels. Eminem really hasn't done everything that Jay has done when it comes to labels. You know what I mean? They're very accomplished when it comes to sales and when it comes to album releases. I just feel like Jay-Z has passed Eminem in a couple of business ventures. But I think it's, you know what I mean, 50 just kind of taking offense that, you know, Jay-Z, even at this point in time, would actually refer to Eminem like that when he looks at Eminem as more one of Jay-Z's peers. You know what I mean? Somebody that's right on the same level as Jay-Z. And I don't know if it goes back to the Renegade record. I don't think it does. I really don't think it does. I had actually done an exclusive interview with Royce where I actually asked him about Renegade. I don't know if all y'all seen that. Here, let me bring it up. Let me see if this is it right here. Yeah. Here it goes right here.
What's up? What's up? This is Royce the 5'9". I want to send a shout out to Mikey T, the movie star. Love and respect to all. Peace.
That's what's up. So let's talk about Renegade. Can you remember the initial recording for me? I believe you had said it was for your debut album. You guys were just looking for records. Guys, I had to ask Royce the 5'9" about Renegade. You know, with all the talk about Eminem, Body, and Jay, I'm not really sure if this is what it has to do with. I mean, that would be really petty if Jay-Z was really still feeling some type of way. But a lot of people don't know. A lot of people think that that record was originally a Jay-Z record. So let's take a listen.
Yeah, so how I was working with Marshall was we were gonna do one, you know. So we recorded two. I remember when we recorded Renegade, I sat there, I watched him make the beat. I must have had something in my mind that I thought I wanted to hear, and maybe he had something in his mind that he thought he wanted to hear too. But when we did that song, we were just like, all right, cool, whatever. You know what I mean? We had this other one called Rock City that we felt like it sounded more like a single. So we kind of like focused on that one. And Renegade was a joint that was just sitting, you know. So when Hove reached out to Marshall, it wasn't the first time he had reached out to him. And Marshall wasn't able to make his deadline last time. And he didn't want to tell him. He didn't want to.
Woo! I don't know what other YouTube channel y'all are getting this shit on, you guys. Apparently, Jay-Z hit up Eminem for a record. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. I don't know any of the other channels that are giving you exclusives like this. So apparently, Jay-Z had reached out to Eminem for a record in the past, and Eminem didn't meet the deadline. Now, that reminds me of Ja Rule's book. You guys, because Ja Rule said that Jay-Z invited him to the studio to do a record. Ja Rule was late getting to the studio. So what did Jay-Z do? Jay-Z simply cut Ja Rule off the record, you guys. So this is crazy. Y'all are hearing this. This is Mikey T, the Movie Stars YouTube channel. Subscribe if you have not subscribed yet.
Tell Hove no again, twice. So
he didn't want to
hit
tell
me up and was just like, yo, man, what do you think about me giving him Renegade? You cool with that? And I was like, cool with it, shit. Like, thank you for even thinking about asking, but you don't have to ask me nothing like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, it's an honor. You know, it's gonna be an honor and a privilege just to hear y'all two together on a joint that I used to be on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is like exciting. I can't wait to hear what he does. You know, so he took my verses off, took my parts of the hook off, sent it to Hove. Hove just filled in the gaps. Classic.
Wow, that's interesting to hear about the timeline, you know, the deadlines, because I remember reading in Ja Rule's book, he had showed up to a Jay-Z studio session late and they had already done the record. Jay-Z was leaving. Deadlines are very serious when it comes to hip hop, huh, Royce?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on what kind of deadline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you see right there. I think that clears up the myth. I mean, a lot of people saying Eminem killed you on your own shit, like Donnell wrote here, but it was actually Eminem's record. You guys. It was actually Eminem's record. Renegade is actually a record that Eminem and Royce the 5'9" created together. You know, they actually created that record together, and Jay-Z hit up Eminem for another joint. And the fact that Eminem didn't want to disappoint Jay for a second time. Not the first time, you guys. Apparently, Eminem missed the first deadline. So M didn't want to disappoint Jay a second time. Let's hear the rest of this joint.
Hate deadlines. If I can avoid them, I avoid them. But you definitely gonna work. You definitely gonna hit those in the younger parts of your career. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna find yourself on other people's time most of the time. Thank God I kind of graduated from that. So I kind of like to not be on other people's time, but every now and then there's a deadline here and there, you know, and then I'm always real intentional with making sure that I meet said deadline.
Well, it was definitely dope to see Eminem show up on Jay-Z's Blueprint album with the Renegade track.
Oh, he was right on time. He wasn't late or nothing. He wasn't late or nothing. Like that shit came together like magic. What's up? What's up? This is Royce the 5'9". I want to send a shout out to Mikey T, the movie star. Love and respect to all. Peace.
Major salute right there. One of my best interviews with Royce the 5'9". I just wanted to play that because I feel like it pertains to this just a little bit. You know, I don't feel like Jay is salty. I don't feel like Jay is salty whatsoever about M. I don't feel like Jay's salty about the Super Bowl either, even though I don't see a Rockefeller Super Bowl performance. You know what I mean? I don't see that happening. You know, I feel like out of our generation, that was the dynasty that deserved the Super Bowl, you know, in all honesty. And the game just wasn't a part of it. And I would be upset if I was him too. Like, in all honesty, if I was the game, if I was Mikey T, the movie star, and I had the documentary under my belt, and I had the Doctor's Advocate under my belt, and I was working with Fifth and all that, well, first of all, I wouldn't have screwed up G Unit. But yeah, I would be tight as well if I got taken out of that moment of history. But yeah, vote in the poll right now because Donnell says that Snoop was Dr. Dre's biggest protege. But right now, Eminem is leading in the poll. Oh, shit, my bad. Got the Rick and Morty. I got the Rick and Morty rolling tray. But right now, Eminem is leading in the poll. So if you guys want to vote, you can vote right now. Everybody vote right now in the poll. Show some love. If you're not subscribed to this channel, subscribe right now. We're about to get into the next topic. And we're about to talk about Kodak Black and Jackboy, man. You know, Kodak Black and Jackboy, two great friends. Are they related? You know what I mean? They're obviously great friends. Kodak put out a lot for Jackboy in the early part of his career to actually get him noticed as an artist, to actually get him ahead of the curve. You know what I'm saying? So people kind of like, not in the same way that 50 did shit for G Unit, but Kodak Black made sure Jackboy had an opportunity to build his name so that when Kodak actually got locked up, Jackboy could still have a career for himself. Now, Kodak and Jackboy have been having a few arguments as of late, and it seems to be over the contract situation. Now, Jackboy apparently messaged or DM'd Kodak Black in one of his projects, and he said, "This is real." Jack said, "My lawyer hit me on some funny shit. I ain't never use a lawyer dealing with Sniper Gang, and I'm not trying to now." Then he left his number. He actually left his number for Kodak Black to call because at this point, you know, Kodak Black and Jackboy have been going through it so long. I know there was a discrepancy of money, possibly money owed to Kodak Black when Jackboy signed his deal with Atlantic. Not really sure all the particulars about that, but at this point, you know, their relationship has dissolved so much that Kodak is just going to send the lawyers apparently to handle it, from what Jackboy is saying here. So he says, "Yo, hit me. We shouldn't need lawyers to holler at each other, whoa. If it's something you needed better understanding for, you know you could have hit me and I would have handled up. I don't got your number, so I can't hit you, but I know we don't need no lawyers to handle this." Jackboy pretty much, you know, appealing to Kodak Black there that he doesn't want to take the legal route. You know, I think at this point, a while back, it looked like Kodak was trying to reach out to Jackboy to solve all the issues. Kodak obviously doesn't give a shit about no money. You know what I mean? He doesn't care about no money. What Kodak really cares about is the friendship, the loyalty that he's missing out on. Kodak wrote, he had wrote on this picture, he said, I tried to link up with your bitch ass when you first got out, but you ducked me until you built up your squad. Then your police ass sued me. Now you act like I'm trying to sue you. Drop the case. I'm not trying to be in court. So yeah, that's a very interesting tale from Kodak Black there. You know, Kodak Black pretty much denying everything that Jackboy is saying. And he's basically saying, like, drop the case. I'm not trying to be in court. He's trying to act like I'm the one that's trying to sue you. Wow. And yeah, I do remember Kodak was trying to link up with Jackboy. When Kodak Black was reaching out to Jackboy over and over and over again, man. He just kept on reaching out to him over and over again. And I don't really know what Jackboy was on, but he wouldn't respond. It's like, yo, what the hell are you thinking, man? You got an opportunity right now to work with Kodak Black. Kodak Black was saying all this shit about let's get the buzz up together. Let me see. I think I got one more message here. So Kodak had posted, he said, my dude put the courts in our business, but trying to flip the script on me like I'm tripping. It ain't too late. I'll forgive you for everything. Just kill all this sucker shit and let's get this money because this ain't the look. I miss your ass, boy. So Kodak just keeping it absolutely real. You know what I mean? It's more about friendship at the end of the day than it is about a few dollars. You know, Kodak probably has all the money that he's ever dreamed of having. So I'm sure as a real friend, he wants Jackboy to have his own money as well. You know what I mean? We all need our own money. We all need our own champagne. We all need our own life. And major salute to Bel Air Blue. You know, I'm fitting to be the Bel Air blogger as soon as they tap in and make that shit official. You know what I'm saying? Bel Air blogger on deck, man. The Bel Air blogger's fitting to be on deck, man. Hell no. Never underestimate Snoop. Big Chris is saying Snoop is number 2 on the list. Yep, that's right. The Game is actually last. Kendrick Lamar has about 10% of the votes. Well, let me get a drink. What a crazy situation though with Jackboy and Kodak Black, man. It's really crazy because I remember Kodak really just trying to reach out to him, and I think Kodak is a very big man, like to just say, "Yo, I don't even care. I don't even care. Let's just get our friendship back on track." You know what I mean? That's like me and my dog Majestic from St. Louis. You know what I mean? We're back on track. You know what I'm saying? RBH. You know, the whole clique is back on track. We're fitting to take this shit over. Friendship is worth more, you know, at the end of the day than worrying about a few materialistic things, or, you know what I mean, worrying about your career being bigger than somebody else's. Because that's why I kind of think these Sniper Gang affiliates were at odds. You know, Jackboy was trying to do it without Kodak Black. Kodak Black just wants to see Jackboy do it. Like, he wants to see him doing it, not from logging on to these computers and watching it through the screen. He wants to see it literally right in front of his face. You know, that's how a lot of people like be about their friends, man. And I can't honestly hate on that. You know what I mean? I'm the same way. I want to see it happen to my friends right in front of my face. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody voting in the poll. Appreciate everybody tapping in tonight. Ronnie, what's popping with you, man? I'm going to do a couple open questions. If anybody has any open questions, you can send them in right now. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping into the live podcast, man. About to light up. Don't know where the hell my lighter. I left the stream for a second to find it, but I must have left it in my car. And I ain't fitting to walk outside, man. Appreciate you, man. Vote in the poll if you haven't. If you haven't voted in the poll yet, if you haven't checked out my interview with Fredro Starr, check that shit out right now. I need everybody to go view my interview with Fredro Starr. That shit is a movie. Fredro was giving some game in that joint. But yeah, man, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe right now. Schizo said facts. He's smoking on some jet fuel. Yeah, Big Chris, that's actually what I did. I bought like a 5-pack and I just left them in my car. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even know. Sometimes you just be misplacing them shits. Numero Uno says Jay-Z do songs with the greats. Him, Wayne, and M Proof. Snoop not on M's level. As far as rap, I don't disrespect your comment, Numero Uno. You know, everybody's got, you know, a place here to point out the facts. You got a place here to point out the facts on the real. Onyx, major salute to my brother Fredro Starr. That's right, y'all can go check that interview out right now. It's actually pinned up in the chat if you guys want to check it out. Does Snoop have proteges? Does Snoop have proteges? Well, he had several different groups, man. 213, you know what I'm saying? The Dog Pound. He had several different groups. Let me put my Instagram up. If nobody's following me on Instagram, y'all can follow me on the gram. I will follow everybody back based on this video. Whoever follows me back right now, I'm going to follow y'all back. My word. Whoever follows me, I'm going to go on my phone. I'm going to follow y'all back right away. You know, I appreciate everybody that taps in, man. Appreciate all the love we get on the channel, man. Yep, Dog Pound, DPG. Really wish they made that DPG Unit album, man. Would have been great to see Corrupt and Daz mixing it up with Buck and Banks and Yayo on the real. Would have been great to have the game in there as well at that point. You know, that's another thing. That's another thing right there. It's another thing. You know, I appreciate everybody for tapping in on this live video. Yep. Donnell, good point. Really, everyone is under Easy's tree. Dre, Cube, Snoop, Eminem, Game 50. Yeah, Game pays a whole lot of respect to Eazy-E. You know what I mean? That's one of the people that Game actually has tatted. Hell yeah, man. A lot of facts going on in this podcast tonight. Like I said, I got my Instagram right here. Whoever follows me based on this video, I am going to follow you guys back. Also pinned up in the chat, I've got my exclusive interview with Fredro Starr from Onyx. That's right. You guys can check that out. I'm going to end the poll. Guys, I'm going to give you about 60 more seconds on the poll. Everybody that wants to vote in the poll right now, you can. I'm going to end that joint off. Hell yeah, Big Swift. Appreciate you for following me on the gram. Anybody who follows me, I will follow y'all back. Like I said, I'm giving y'all about 30 seconds left on the poll. We got 88 votes in there. So if you haven't voted in the poll, make sure you vote right now. Yep, you're going to get your last chance right now to vote in the poll. I appreciate everybody tapping in on this live. Cypress Hill versus Onyx. Yeah, that's the next verses, man. What's the date on that, man? Give me the date on that if you can before we drop this video, get out of the podcast tonight, man. You know, it's Mikey T, the movie star. Had to come on here tonight and talk about these topics, man. Kodak Black and Jackboy, will they get back together? A lot of times in this industry, we do see friends throw away a lawsuit. You know what I mean? A lot of times they can come together and they can put an end to shit because at the end of the day, both of those guys don't want to see. I don't think either of them want to see each other, you know, doing worse off. You know, I think Kodak, it probably brings a smile to Kodak Black's face to actually know that Jackboy is having some success. You know what I mean? I think that actually brings some joy to Kodak Black to know that one of his other guys is having success. Don't really know the particulars about what went on behind the scenes between them, similar to what, Snoop was saying about Dre in the game, understanding where they both come from. Dre obviously has a relationship, excuse me, Dre obviously has a relationship with everybody involved, and they obviously talk, and maybe the game has told Snoop some things. Maybe Dre has told Snoop some things about why there's friction in their relationship, or maybe it's all just because of the things that we've witnessed on the internet, with Game going on Drink Champs and giving Kanye West all of the credit that seemingly should be given to Dr. Dre. It obviously threw Nori off to hear him say that. It even threw Nori off when the Game said that he would be open for a versus with Eminem. I don't really think anybody should be shocked about the Game looking to, spar or looking to, put up his achievements against others. The Game's had quite a few albums. Eminem's had quite a few albums. We'll have to see what happens with that, man. If a versus ever comes, I say they should do it next. I say it should be the next versus. I would much rather see. I'm going to put this in the chat. We'll do one more poll tonight, you guys. I want to know which verses you guys would rather see. If we can get some quick votes on this before we get out of here, call this a special poll. All right, you guys. I want to know. Vote in the poll right now. Appreciate you, Matt. Appreciate you, Matt. Like I said, everybody that follows me based on this video, I will follow you guys back. Everybody that follows me based on this video, you're getting the follow back from Mikey T. That's how you basically stay in tune. You know when I'm going to go live. You know when I'm going to drop videos, all that type of shit. But I want everybody to vote in the poll right now. Look at this, man. Vote in the poll. We're going to have to call this podcast episode Mikey T's Using Lighters. Mikey T's Using Matches. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Y'all let me know that I'm still relevant out here. Y'all let me know that people still tapping in. I see a lot of the interviews going viral. A lot of my interviews going viral in the last few weeks, man. I appreciate everybody watching the content, man. Crazy situation we got going on right now. But you know what, man? I think it's in good hands. I think it's being discussed by, interesting enough people, you know what I mean? People that are of stature in the industry. Nori actually bringing this to the table sheds a lot of light on the situation. Now we know why 50 Cent was there. You know what I mean? A lot of people might say, well, shit, 50 Cent fell off in relevancy in a similar way to the Game did when it comes to music. As much as you want to argue about 50 Cent having the television shows on lock. Appreciate you, J-Bids. Major salute. If anybody watching this video isn't subscribed, make sure you subscribe right now. Major salute to my brother Dark Low. I see he just liked my comment on his page. It's my bro right there for life. It's my bro right there for life. Dark Low, real G. But yeah, man. I'm going to follow everybody back as soon as I get off the live. Y'all follow me right now. If you're just tuning in, just rewind this video. I just wanted to come on and do a short live tonight, with all these topics popping off with Kodak and Jackboy. I hope they can get their shit back together, man, because it would do well for Jackboy's career. You know what I mean? I really think it's kind of weak that Jackboy took this long to realize that. You know what I mean? It took him a little bit long to realize that he should get back with Kodak. I think it would have better suited him if he had got back together with Kodak a year and a half ago when Kodak had first offered it up. I've witnessed it. You know what I mean? Kodak was like, bro, just come home. You know what I mean? Just come home. Just come be with us. You know what I mean? Come run with us. Come spend money with us. And then the situation with Jay-Z actually providing a little bit of insight. Who would have thought? You know what I mean? It was Eminem that went to bat. Eminem, I wouldn't have thought that Eminem wouldn't go to bat for 50. You know what I mean? I would never have thought that. But the fact that Eminem had to go to bat for 50, you know what I mean? The fact that Eminem had to go to bat for 50 in this circumstance, you know, it just shows a lot, man, because Eminem wanted 50 to be a part of that history. Is this going to be in the game's diss track? If the game already has a diss track on Eminem, probably not, but it'll probably be in one of the forthcoming diss tracks where the game is just probably like, oh, and you really had needed that help from your man 50, something in regard to that. You know what I mean? But I'm for it. You know what I mean? I'm all for it because, like the game said, he's going to keep it within the realm of hip hop. And I find that to be absolutely respectable. Will Eminem respond? I'd have to say so. Eminem's responded to MGK. I think the game is going to come 10 times as hard as MGK. And that's no diss at MGK's music in general, because MGK is dope as well. You know, the way that he transitioned from rap to rock, and he actually tripled his sales. He actually tripled his sales. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for tapping in tonight. If you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe right now, y'all. I'm going to read out the poll. It looks like Game versus Busta Rhymes is beating Eminem versus the Game in a versus. People would rather see Busta versus Game in a verse. You know what I mean? Busta versus Game. I agree. That's what's up. That's what's up. Versus, get on it, man. Take notice. The people want to see Game versus Busta as well. Now hit that link. I've got it pinned up. I've got the link pinned. Go check out my interview with Fredro Starr. Drop a comment on it. It's one of the dopest interviews out right now with Fredro Starr. And like I said, if you're not subscribed to this channel, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe right now so you never miss the content, you guys, so you never miss this live interactive experience. Don't miss my live podcast, you guys, or else you're going to feel like you missed an episode of Monday Night Raw in the 90s. You're going to be like, damn, I missed my chance out to vibe with Mikey T. So I'll see you all in the next episode. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and make sure you hit the notification bell. You'll see Mikey T, the movie star, on the next one.